So Elon Musk is ready to demo the FSD version 12 live demo next week. I can't imagine what could possibly go wrong with this. Well, in a minor way, everything is reversing this morning. Stocks and commodities, the 10-year yields are all up, where the 2-year and the 2-month yields are down. We'll talk more about that later. The pre-market does not a trend make. Tesla was up in the pre-market, and guess what? It's down now and falling. Is it going to test 217? It's possible. This is Randy Kirk. If you like the morning show, hit like, hit subscribe, hit notify. You want to hit notify because why? Because we are continuing the series on Asia. This is a really important series. It's going to continue this afternoon with Brian Wang. It will go on Friday with Jeff Lutz. It'll continue and end on Saturday morning with Larry Goldberg and I wrapping the entire series up. You don't want to miss these, so that's why you want to hit notify. Thank you. We had a Patreon member joining yesterday. Please join Patreon. You get a free book and you get 7 days free just to try it out and take a look at all the stuff I got up there that will not be on YouTube. All right. At the opening bell this morning, the market is up, but then trending down. I mean, in other words, it started higher, but then it started going down. Tesla is down, and some of the Cathie Wood stocks. It kind of looked like Tesla was leading the way with regard to the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ was just following along. But on the other hand, some feel that the options activity, we have options expirations tomorrow. We have tremendous amounts of activity in Tesla with regard to options. We could have somebody selling this morning, all kinds of possibilities, but Tesla is down and down strongly, at least at the opening few minutes, the first 10 minutes, which is what I do here in this show. We will take, obviously, another look at that before we close things up at the end. But I think there's a possibility we could be testing 217. I don't think we'll break below 217, and I think we'll bounce off of it. That is my analysis. And some of you out there are saying, Randy, why do you pick all these numbers? And, aren't you risking your reputation? I am doing an analysis. In order to do the analysis right, you need to have some kind of key performance indicators. You need to have something that you can say, this is what the analysis says will happen. And if it does, we'll hit this number. I don't think you should trade off my numbers. I don't think you should make decisions off my numbers. And I don't think you can hold me accountable for the numbers. But then even when the number is wrong, take a look at the analysis and then take a look at the post-game analysis, okay? When your team doesn't win, even when they should, against some team they should always beat, the post-game analysis is always interesting. And that's what we do here is we're analyzing previous to the game. We're taking a look at the game, and then afterwards, we take a look at how we did. All right. Well, anyway, Elon says his version 12 FSD test ride will be next week. This is going to be a live demonstration on X. Obviously, he's looking for opportunities to build up both companies, and he must really believe that version 12 is ready for him. I guess this will be a hands-free demo, or maybe he'll have to touch the wheel. I don't know, but version 12 is supposed to be out of beta, so it's supposed to be hands-free. I don't know. We'll have to see what's going to go on. I've been a salesman my whole life, and I've done lots of demos in front of customers. I'm only too aware of the embarrassment and the things that can come up that can kill a deal when a demo doesn't go right. Elon has at least one major experience, which became famous, of doing a demo on the Cybertruck with a hardened window of steel kind of glass that they were using that was not supposed to break when they threw the ball peen at it, but it did break and it caused embarrassment, even though in that case you can overcome it. It became funny. It became something you could talk about. You could examine again. You could look at the post-game show and say, this is why it happened. Still didn't. Overall, it was probably a help. In this case, I think if he has to have even one time that he has to interrupt the ride because of something the car does, that's not going to be a good thing. There's going to be a lot of people that will mock that for months to come. And if it goes perfectly, people will still mock it and claim that it was a stunt or this or the other. Anyway, whatever it is, I can truly say this is a high wire stunt. And Elon, of course, does high wire stunts. Okay, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So Elon teases on yesterday that the X will be coming out with a phone. So we've been talking about, will Tesla have a phone? Well, no, Tesla's not going to have a phone. Apparently, X is going to have a phone. Now, that is not a definite, it's teased, but he says there needs to be a phone that will never steal your data. And he says that it's necessary as part of the future of X. Interesting. The Cybertruck thing has to be really, really close. I mean, first of all, it's, we've always known it, or for a long time, it would be the end of the third quarter. Maybe it spills into the beginning of the fourth quarter, but we're awfully close to that now, 45 days away from the end of the third quarter. And there are Cybertruck sightings everywhere, and that can't be by mistake. It's not like us, it's not like Tesla sitting there going, trying to make sure that these Cybertrucks don't get seen. No, they're right out in plain view, and it's on purpose. And so I'm getting excited about the event, the handover. But boy, we could use it right now. Well, except for those of you who can you still have lots of dry powder and you're buying right now at Tesla stock. I just don't have any dry powder. I feel bad. Okay. So Dan Ives yesterday on CNBC, he says Tesla is a table pounder. So, it is. So why is it down this morning, Dan? Well, anyway, he believes, like I do, that it's an incredible opportunity. The pricing is finally, he's saying the pricing at these levels is crazy and it's time to get in. I just look at Tesla as 100 times opportunity over the next 7 years. And if you have dry powder and you're getting in now, all the better. All right. The most troubling number this morning over all the numbers that are out there is that the 10-year yield was going into record territory. Now, please remember, most of you who watch this channel are old duffs, maybe not as old as me, but you're old. You're old enough. You are over 45. You know what interest rates are normally. What we've had over the last 21 years is not normal. And I've noted over and over again that these interest rates are not normal. Having zero interest rates for like 10 years is not normal. Normal is mortgages in the 5.5% to 7% range. That's normal for all of history. Again, I've done a lot of study, a lot of research. I've had quite a number of real estate clients. So I know the mortgage deal backwards, forwards, and inside out. I can tell you that it's normal to have 6% would probably be the average over the last 100 years. So having 7% mortgages right now is not weird, okay? And people will get used to it, and people will still buy houses, and people will still buy cars, and people will still buy appliances, but they're getting used to it. That people under 45 have never seen this before. So some of the fear of the market right now is based on wrong impressions. Business can survive these rates, and people will continue to buy. Nobody wants to get used to them. And my forecasts say, my impression is that we will see lower interest rates next year, and maybe we'll be back down to, say, 5.5% or 6% mortgages and 6% car rates. And, everything will be kind of back to something that is better than now. Okay. But I don't think we're going to get back to zero interest rates again, unless, of course, we do get to deflation, which Kathy Wood and I agree is a good thing. And so maybe we do go back all the way down to those numbers, but they are not normal. In summary, we can even go up another 25 or 50 basis points. I don't want that to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I think there's a chance it'll break things. And I don't want to test the theory. Because right now, the other thing that's not normal is we have this credit bubble, and I don't want to be poking. I don't want to be poking the credit bubble. All right. The U.S. economy, according to the Fed, Atlanta Federal Reserve, the U.S. economy is likely growing at a 5.8% annualized rate in the third quarter. That is higher even than the model that was released the other day by the Atlanta Fed, saying we were growing at a 5% pace. Man, okay, maybe it's true. A lot of times these Fed regionals, these numbers are early in the quarter. They get revised. I'm not sure, but right now that would say things are going along quite well. Initial unemployment claims are down again today. but they're still within the range of the past few weeks, even longer. They're solid numbers, shouldn't have an effect on the Fed or the market. We should be looking at those are okay numbers. They're not horrible. They're not horrible either way. Now, the latest Philadelphia Fed manufacturing index jumped into positive territory for the first time in a year, indicating an expansion of activity. In August, the index rose to 12%, surpassing the forecast of -10. I'm sorry, not 12%, of 12. The forecast was -10. The 6 months outlook dropped for the first time in 3 months, but remained positive at 3.9. So that anything over 0, of course, is positive. Walmart reported this morning. It raised its first of all, it beat top and bottom, and it raised its full year forecast. They are seeing a lot of additional grocery business. That could be because people are not eating out as much or having their groceries delivered by their local store. And their online is going up huge. E-commerce sales for Walmart in the US jumped 24%. How do you do that? 24%. I mean, what's going on there? Walmart says it now expects full fiscal year consolidated net sales to increase by 4 to 4.5%. That compares with its prior guidance at 3.5%. So very, very big opportunity beat for Walmart, and especially on their guidance. Chief Financial Officer John David Rainey said Walmart saw modest improvement in sales of big ticket and discretionary items like electronics and home goods during the quarter. Sales of these products have been weaker for more than a year as people were spending more money on necessities like food. He described the consumer as choiceful or discerning. Interesting that this is the opposite of what Home Depot said just 2 days ago, where they said that people were not buying the discretionary items, the larger items. New York now is good. This is back on electric cars. New York is going to mandate that all ride-hail services be EVs. Here's the rollout plan. Starting in 2024, New York will require 5% of all high-volume for-hire trips, including those on Uber and Lyft, to be dispatched to EVs or wheelchair-accessible vehicles. The benchmarks will rise to 15% in 2025 and 25% in 2026. The requirements will increase yearly by 20% until the end of the decade, reaching 100% in 2030. Okay, and then Janet Yellen, back to the treasuries and the United States government policy with regard to essential strategic supply. She says, this is our current policy. It is important that we build resilient and diversified critical global supply chains that can reduce choke points, mitigate disruptions, and protect our economic security, she said. Does she think that is a new policy? Does she remember a policy which said energy independence was a strategic necessity? What happened to that part of the strategic necessity? This is not new. It should be applied to energy also, and it is something that should have been in place at all times. It should not be considered a breakthrough policy. I don't understand what that is. Yes, we have to be as independent as we possibly can be. We cannot be beholden to other countries for supplies, and we certainly have to make sure that our military supply chains are all in place at all times. She, of course, is talking about things like pills. That seemed to be important during COVID. We never knew how important it would be, but it's not a new policy, and I'm glad that they're finally recognizing it. Okay. Now let's check the stocks to see where we are here as we go deeper into the day. Well, Tesla has rebounded from its lows. It's choppy. It's down 247. At this point, maybe we will never get down to that 217, but we certainly did test 221. Let's look at the rest here. We've got the Dow is still up, but the NASDAQ has gone into negative territory. Some of the other Magnificent Seven are now in negative territory. So as I said, it looked like Tesla led down this morning. The Cathie Woods are almost all in negative territory. So is this going to be a negative day? Who knows? We got options tomorrow expiring. So it could be one of those choppy days as people try to position themselves for tomorrow. Let's take a look now at the 10-year is now at 4.298, almost 4.3. Remember, the number I'm looking for is do not go over 4.5. We do have the 2-month down and the 2-year down. This is a reduction in the yield inversion. This is what should be expected over the next months. As inflation drops, we should see this flip at some point. We should see it shrink and then flip. We're not certainly don't know when that's going to happen, but that's what we would like to see happen over the next months. Now let's take a look at the rest of it. We've got the crypto down. I asked yesterday, did 29,000 mean anything? Yeah, apparently it meant something because the crypto is down another 2.58 this morning. The dollar is around its 2-month high. Gold is now. So gold has now fallen again. It was up strongly this morning, as were silver, copper. It looked like the commodities were all up, but now gold is down strongly. 1926, this is down almost 100 points from where it was just a month or so ago. Silver up slightly, copper up slightly. So some of the commodities might still be up a little. Oil bounced back up above 80. I don't like to see that. I certainly like to see it continue to crush. And then that was it. All right. So please check out the interview I did with Larry earlier this week. I'll put a card up here in preparation for the series that will continue later today. Brian Wang will be on today, Jeff Lutz tomorrow, and then wrapping it up on Saturday, back with Larry again. We'll summarize everything that we've learned over those very intense interviews about India, Malaysia, Indonesia, all of South Asia, but also China, Hong Kong, even Australia. We'll be looking at the entire region, what's happening with manufacturing, why people are starting to diversify out of China, what that means long-term, even short-term, why Tesla is looking at India as opposed to a second plant in China, on and on. We'll take a look at all of that. So please hit like, subscribe, and notify. Hit notify, of course, so that you can be notified of these things. And then buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. These are, ask your fellow Patreon, check out Patreon, go up there and see what people are saying about the books on Patreon. Go on Amazon and see what the reviews say. I think all of them have 4.5 ratings out of 5. If you're interested at all in the Elon Musk mission, if you're interested at all on how Elon Musk thinks and what makes him as amazing as he is in detail, if you're interested at all in knowing how to read financial statements and how to read profit and loss and how to read balance sheets and how to use those to run a business or to be able to analyze companies, pick up making money out of thin air, and then when Friday isn't payday, that's if you're an entrepreneur or you'd like to be an entrepreneur. It takes you from A to Z, from the beginning, from the thought in your head that you'd like to open your own company, all the way through the how you would sell a company at the end and get the most money for it. All right, that's all I got for you this morning. We'll be seeing you a couple of times later today. This is Randy Kirk. It's been great talking to you.